Hey guys, it's Allie with Chaos Monkey, and I am doing a finish video. I'm going to do the finish for the Mary Maxim July Knit Club. Currently I have both the Knit Club and the Crochet Club, so this is the Knit Club. The pattern was interesting. I had some issues with the pattern just because of the way it was written. I won't get into details. It's really nitpicky stuff, but I wasn't too happy with it. I did the scarf because that's all we had the yarn for, which was 1 ball each, and I went down to a size 5 needle because they wanted a size 7, and that was way too big on my gauge. So it was just issues with the way the pattern was written. Some of it was kind of confusing, and some of it was just weird. For example, here on the smaller version, it was actually written out, and here on the larger version, it was in number format, and it's just little things like that. Plus, some of it was just very confusing the way it was worded, and so I kind of figured it out. But if I was going to grade the pattern, I would say it would be a C for sure. The way it's put together, and because of the pattern itself too. But I followed it. I didn't make a lot of changes. I just did what the pattern wanted me to do once I figured out the weird parts, and following it the way that I think it said to follow it. I had a lot of leftovers, you guys, so I'll show you the finish, and I'll try to measure it out on another video so you can and give you the numbers on it because I don't have a measuring tape handy. But yeah, you see, you needed 2 balls to do the shawl version here of each. You needed 1 ball of each to do the scarf version. It was the same pattern. It's just the numbers changed, of course, depending on what size you were doing. And for the Hawaiian Sunset, which is this guy, I had 48 grams left. Remember, these are 100-gram balls. And for the Apple Teeny, which is this orange, I had 44 grams left. So I think I overshot a couple rows just when I was doing this color, so that's why it's a little shorter. That's enough yarn to pretty much do 2 of these scarves. So bottom line is, let me get the cat hair off of there, is that if you follow the pattern for the scarf, you may want to adjust the numbers to make it bigger so you can use up more of your yarn. Because I have enough yarn to do 2 scarves. So it's not quite enough yarn to do a shawl, but it's definitely too much yarn for the scarf. And the pattern wasn't exactly designed to use up, for the scarf, wasn't adjusted to use up 1 whole ball of each. So I just wanted to give you that heads up. And I didn't really want to make any adjustments and adapt it, because you know how I like to use up all the yarn if I can. I just followed it, did my thing, moved on, and I think I'm just going to either use this for something else completely, or maybe make another one or something similar to it in the future. But here's the scarf, and it's a pretty good size scarf. It's not huge, but it's it will wrap around your neck and have a little extra to hang down. And I'll show you pictures on the mannequin too. Let me move that out of the way. And so as you can see, here's the 1/2. You start with 1 color. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know if I think I messed up a stitch there. You can see right there. But anyway, kind of goes to a point. You started at one end and you work your way up, and then you put the stripes in with the other colors. So here's the stripes section. It's all straight. Some of the wording on that I didn't like either. But anyway, moving on. And then we get into the other color, which was the Hawaiian Sunset, and you end it pretty much the same way as you started it, with this tapered point. And let me take that back. I started in this color, worked my way this way, overshot a couple rows apparently in the orange, and ended here. So it looks like they're the same length because the orange ended up working up a little bit thicker than the Hawaiian, so the Apple Teeny came out a little thicker than the Hawaiian when you worked it up. And then I think I added maybe 1 or 2 rows by accident on this end, but it still looks like they're even. when you hold them against each other. So that's cool. So yeah, okay pattern, but you can definitely adapt it. Maybe add more stitches widthwise, so you can use up more yarn if you want a wider one. But also make sure that especially if you're on size 5 needles like me, that you can make this section much longer if you want to, in the solid color, or before you put the stripes in, just in the one color. You can make this much, much longer. What I would do is just weigh it, and when you get to like 2/3, somewhere in there, then switch to the stripes. Use like 1/3 in the striping section of each color, and then use the 2/3 in the solid section. So you can, if you weigh it as you go, you can hopefully use up the whole ball, and just make a much longer scarf or a little bit wider, longer scarf, so you don't have leftovers. Because it's not enough for a shawl, but you can definitely get a bigger scarf than what I did, because we used up about half the balls for this one. So if I'd caught that earlier, I probably would have done the same thing. But again, I just kind of wanted to get this piece done, and it's still a pretty good length. It's for a scarf. But I'm just letting you know, if you want to use up the whole ball, you're gonna have to weigh it and adjust it. Don't follow the pattern, or don't expect the pattern for the scarf to use up the majority of the yarn. She may have with a size 7 needle for the scarf. But this was me on a 5, and you can see it made pretty much a perfect fabric. A size 7 for me would have been like super see-through and loosey-goosey. So if you're going up on your needle size to get the right texture, the right gauge, that's why I'm suggesting just weigh the balls, because your gauge will be a little different if you're on a different needle size. I always interchange those. I'm sorry, guys. If you're on a different needle size than I was at a 5, yeah, you just weigh the balls. It's just easier that way, because that way, as you're going, if you use 2/3 of the ball here for the first piece, regardless of your gauge and your needle size, you'll know when to switch your yarns. Use 1/3 for the striping of each color, and then use 2/3 of the color to finish up. You should be okay, and just have a bigger, longer scarf. That way you don't have to calculate yardage or do any crazy math. You can just weigh them as you go and just adapt. So that's my thing. I do like the yarn. The yarn was really nice to work with for a cotton. And it's the Ella Ray. It was the Sun-Kissed Pure Cotton, 100% cotton. And so it was a really nice cotton to work with. It has a really good drape, if you can see how it's drapey. And it was nice to work with. It didn't split too much. I had a little bit of splitting, but you kind of expect that sometimes in a cotton, because they are made up of the individual strands. And the strands you can tend to kind of like want to pull apart sometimes when you're working, but that's normal. It was no big deal. Really nice to work with. Really like the yarn. Really like the finished product. I just don't like the fact that I had so much leftovers. I think that's where I'm going with that. Pattern was okay. You can follow it. It's just not written in the best way. And then also both ends, as you can see, one end goes this way and the other end goes that way when you're finished. So they both kind of go in the same direction. They're not mirrored. So just to let you know about that too. At least the way I followed the pattern, the way it was written. Who knows, maybe I followed it wrong, but I thought that was a little weird too, because I would have wanted them to mirror, especially when it's wrapped around your neck, because you want one to kind of go this way. But then if you do that, you're going to have the pearl bumps showing. But it still looks good. You can still wrap it in a way where that's not really an issue. But I probably would have mirrored it. But yeah, see, like when you have it like this, it does this. But if you want it, you're going to have pearl bumps on one side. So if you want both sides like this, you just kind of have to adjust it. And that's it. So I finished it. I really like it. I like the colors. I'm usually not big on oranges and stuff, but I do like these oranges. And I like how they worked together, because as you can see on the picture, they used these two colors, which I really don't like together. And then on this picture, they used a gray and a blue together. I like that one too, but I do like how the oranges came out. So okay, you guys, that is my finish for the knit club for July for Mary Maxim. I don't know what else I'm going to finish soon. I'm trying to work through these kits. I don't want them to pile up, but I do have a Alpaca Direct Kelly's Knit Club kit that I'm finishing up now, so that'll be another separate finish video. And then I think I might work on some older projects to get those finished up that I need to finish, and then maybe start another kit. I don't know. I have so many kits. So much to choose from. I think I'm almost to like analysis paralysis, like where you can't make a decision because there's too many choices. I think I'm hitting that that area. So anyways, guys, hope everybody's doing well, and I will see you later.